is like a Batman mouse type vibe. Apparently rated the best mouse in the world. I'll be the judge of that. What's up guys, Caleb here with another installment of Reality Check, and today is all about the SteelSeries Rival 600. Now, it was rated one of the best gaming mouses in the entire world by TechRadar. It's got customizable weight options, it's got brilliant RGB, it's got a dual optical sensor setup, and it's overall aesthetically pleasing and really comfortable to use. So I'd say it's a pretty good mouse for competitive gamers and gaming enthusiasts, but let's talk about it in a little bit more detail. From an aesthetic point of view, I really like the Rival 600. It's, as I said earlier on, it kind of looks like a Batmobile type vehicle thing. It's got a really soft, muted black finish, and it just looks and feels really nice and really smooth. The build quality is great, and something that I do like about what they've done with this as opposed to something like the Rival 500, which was the previous model, which had a total of 15 buttons and switches, they've changed the design up and made this one a whole lot more focused. This one only has 3 buttons, plus the switches and the scroller and the clickers on top, so a total of like 5 or 6 buttons. So it's a lot more clearly directed and targeted at a specific type of gamer, and I appreciate that focus in the design. Also, these awesome rubber side grips, which just make it such a pleasure to hold. It fits and sits really comfortably in my hand. And whilst we're on the topic of those side grips, both of them come out to reveal housing for up to 32 grams of 4 grams configurations for a total of 16 grams of each side, giving you a total of 256 weight options. So finding the perfect weight that suits you should not be a problem, unlike in real life. The RGB on the Rival 600 is also one of the more brilliant touches. It just looks really clear, bright, and well diffused. And I also feel like it's covering a much truer spectrum of that RGB. So you can program up to 8 different zones, so that there's always a party happening at the tip of your fingers when your mouse is on. Both the buttons and the RGB can be programmed and customized through the SteelSeries Engine app, which usually I find very intuitive and just simple and easy to use. However, I will say that after I installed this on my computer, it decided to crash and started this like little glitch where it just kind of freaked out until I went and disabled it in my startup program. So I will cut you, SteelSeries. Watch yourself. I don't care how nice your mouses are, how lekker your RGB is, I will cut you. What? What the hell are you doing? I'm trying to shoot you. Jesus Christ.
SteelSeries for the win!
Dude, God. Hostile work environment, bruv. Now, after that distraction, let's move on to some of the features. So one of the main selling points of the Rival 600 is its dual optical sensor setup. Now, the primary sensor will give you a total CPI of up to 12,000 and also one-to-one accuracy for up to 3,500 CPI. So those are pretty professional capabilities, but it's the secondary sensor that takes this mouse to an entirely new level. So the secondary sensor will prevent your drifting, I think that's what it's called, will prevent your game from drifting when you accidentally or purposefully lift your mouse off the surface you're playing on. Now, if you don't know what drifting is, if you've ever played Counter-Strike with the crappy mouse and you're suddenly doing this and then your character just goes, and then the next thing you know, you're looking up or you're looking down at the frame, that's drifting, and it's because you have a cuck mouse. So I'm sorry about that, but that pretty much solves this. So it's almost unrivaled accuracy because it's a very unique setup that you won't find in a lot of other mouses, and to be honest, personally, I can see a lot of brands imitating this feature in the future. So the last couple of things to touch on are the grip style that this mouse is aimed at. For me, I feel like it's more palm grip and claw grip players, basically just because of the size of the buttons. The clickers also have 2 different tactile responses. So the left click is a whole lot more sensitive, and the right click is a bit more rigid, obviously because your left click is your trigger, but I really like that kind of small little attention to detail that they added there. I also think this mouse is probably good for first-person shooters and real-time strategy gamers. And lastly, if you have short fingers, I think you might have a bit of a problem with the Rival 600 because the buttons are really long. Also, the clutch is placed fairly far away from what you would consider to be a usable point. So also something else you might want to consider. My thumbs are very fat and very long, so I don't really have a problem with it, but that might be an issue for some of you. So that pretty much covers it for the Rival 600, you guys. It checks a lot of the boxes. It's got a great build quality and design. It's got customizable weight options, brilliant RGB, and potentially unmatched accuracy thanks to its unique dual sensor setup. But with all those boxes being checked, what can one expect to pay for a mouse like that? Well, guess what? We're gonna tell you. Money time! Ow. My knee, dude. But I don't know if this reality check has medical insurance. Anyway, at the time of this recording, this puppy, the SteelSeries Rival 600, was priced at around 1,540 Rand on Takealot. Now, that may seem pricey to some of you, but I have used some of the other so-called best mouses in the world, not that I have anything against them. For example, the Basilisk, the Death Adder, and whilst they are both definitely awesome mouses on their own, I don't think they match it in terms of the RGB, the weight customization options, and the overall feel and look of the Rival 600. I think it trumps it in a lot of regards. Anyways, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this week's installment of Reality Check. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about the Rival 600. Also, if you're programming, let me know what mouse you use and why you think it's better than this. Don't forget to hit like. Don't forget to hit subscribe. And I'll catch you guys next week for another installment of Reality Check. Peace! And